Hello students of class 8, welcome back to yet another magnificent session of English only on Classroom TV. Today we are going to look at our chapter titled Maestro with a Mission. Now here guys, what does the word maestro mean? Maestro means a master, someone who's very good at something. Okay, and here we have someone, we have a maestro, and this person is very good at a dance form. Now all of us do know many dance forms. Yes, and in India we have 8 major dance forms which are classical in nature. And those dance forms are, yes, we have Bharatnatyam, we have Kathak, we have Odissi, and we have another one called Kuchipudi. Now Kuchipudi guys, it is a dance form that originated in Andhra Pradesh. Okay, and there is a town called Kuchipudi, and from that, the dance form has been named after that town because it was originated in that place. Now Kuchipudi guys, it is a beautiful dance form, and this dance form was preserved by someone whom we are going to learn about today. Okay, yes, and this person guys, he was not a rich person. And this person, when he started off, he was not good at Kuchipudi. But then he had a mission. And that mission was to make sure that Kuchipudi also reaches that pedestal of being one of the most, one of the major dance forms in India. And yes, he was able to help that happen. Okay, and today Kuchipudi is, yes, given that pedestal of where it is, nationally recognized. And this person, guys, because of his efforts to preserve this dance form, to preserve this art, he was given many awards by India, by the government. Now, this person, guys, when he started off, as I told you, he was not a rich person, and he struggled to keep this dance form alive, and not just alive, but then he wanted many people to learn this dance form because he understood that there is an intensity, that there is something that, this dance form can, in some way relate to God. Okay, so here, guys, this unit called Art and Culture is all about how we students, how we people, how we Indians can protect our very own art, our very own culture. We've talked about Ikat, we've talked about the Pochampalli saris, and how that, we need to make sure that we buy those products and we let that art stay alive. If we don't buy those products, very soon, we will not have any Ikat saris if not many people buy it, yes. So we need to make sure that our tradition, our culture, our art stays alive. And that, for part A reading, we had the story of Ikat. For part B, we had the earthen goblet about pottery. Pottery is also an art form that, it's a part of our culture and that needs to be protected. We need to make sure that, we buy pots and, there are people who engage in pottery. Yeah, so we need to protect that. And here for part C, we have a dance form. And this dance form is called Kuchipudi. And as you can see in the video behind me, you have, I'm sure you're able to see many people engaged in, dancing. And this dance is what Kuchipudi is all about, because this is Kuchipudi. Today it is recognized as one of the major dance forms in India. Fine. Now I want you to open your textbooks, turn to this chapter, and we'll go ahead and we'll read about this maestro who was with one mission, and that mission was to, make sure that Kuchipudi reaches that pedestal. He didn't have, any kind of monetary benefits. Yeah, he didn't have that mindset to make money. He didn't have the mindset of, becoming popular. But then his mindset was to make sure that Kuchipudi, being so beautiful, reaches many other people, and many other people also engage in this art form, is what he wanted to, promote. And he did. He was successful, guys. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's read about this maestro. The 18-year-old lad means boy. Okay, the 18-year-old boy, a dropout from the school. Dropout means someone who does not continue his studies. So here he did not continue his studies. He did not study till his 10th standard. So here we have an 18-year-old boy. He's a dropout from the school, left his house with just 2 rupees in order to realize a dream. It was the passionate dream he was driven by. He wanted to elevate the status of an art form he had learned from his great gurus. He decided to dedicate his life for the enrichment of that art form. The lad left his house for Madras, now called Chennai, about 400 kilometers from his place. The place where he started was a village about 50 kilometers away from Vijayawada in Krishna district. He walked all the way. On his long way, he fed himself on plantains and water. Finding the condition of the lad, a station master at Venkatachalam offered him a full meal. "Where are you going, dear?" the station master asked. No reply came. The lad looked at the endless sky. The lad was Vempati Chinna Satyam, who later came to be known as Dr. Vempati Chinna Satyam, and the place where he started from was Kuchipudi, and the art form he was passionate about was Kuchipudi. So now here we introduced to the maestro. The maestro here is Vempati Chinna Satyam. Okay, today he's called Dr. Vempati Chinna Satyam. And this person, guys, when he was only 18 years old, he left home. He left home with only 2 rupees. And what was his mission? Why did he leave? He left because he wanted to make sure that Kuchipudi, has a place in the country, in the art form, in the different art forms of our country. He wanted it to reach to that kind of a level. He started off from a small town called Kuchipudi. So he was from Kuchipudi and he wanted to promote this art form called Kuchipudi. Okay, so he was an 18-year-old boy. He was a dropout from school. That means he did not finish school. He doesn't have a 10th class certificate to say. He left his house with just 2 rupees. What was his dream, guys? What was his mission? His mission was to elevate the status of an art form. He learned from his great guru. So he learned this art form called Kuchipudi and he wanted to elevate. Elevate means to lift or to raise. So when he was, learning this, Kuchipudi was not so well known. Of course it was well known, but not as well known as it is today. And so he wanted to, elevate the status. He wanted to make Kuchipudi big. He wanted to, let everyone know about Kuchipudi. He had learned from his gurus. He decided to dedicate his life for the enrichment of that art form. At the young age of 18, usually people don't have many ambitions. Yes, you are 13 right now. Do you have an ambition for yourself? Yeah, most of us are not sure what we would like to become. But here, at a very young age of 18, he knew what he wanted. And what did he want? He wanted to elevate the status of an art form. He wanted to enrich it. He wanted to make it big. The lad left his house for Madras. So from Kuchipudi, he went to Madras. Because in Madras, that was like, where art could prosper. And because art could prosper in Madras, he left from Kuchipudi to Madras, now called Chennai. Now Madras is called Chennai. It was about 400 kilometers from his place. So from Kuchipudi in Andhra Pradesh, he went to Madras. So it was 400 kilometers, very, very far. The place where he started was a village about 50 kilometers from Vijayawada. So that was Kuchipudi in Krishna district. He walked all the way. On his long way, he fed himself on plantains and water. So he walked all the way from home to that station, to the train station. It was 50 kilometers journey and he walked. And when he walked, guys, he didn't have much food to eat. He only had bananas and water. Finding the condition of the lad, station master at Venkatachalam offered him a full meal. So the station master here, we see that he was a kind man. He looked at this young boy, he was only 18, and he walked so much and his condition was not so good because he hadn't eaten much. And therefore the station master was kind enough and he said, "Why don't you eat something?" And he offered him a full meal. And the station master asked him, "Where are you coming from, my boy? What have you been doing all this while? Why did you walk, etc.?" He had a lot of questions, yeah? So he began to ask this person all those questions. And did he reply? He didn't. He was just looking at the sky. He was just looking at his ambition. He was looking forward. He was looking, for a positive result. He was filled with positivity. So this lad, we understand that his name is Vempati Chinnasatyam. Today he is called Dr. Vempati Chinnasatyam. And the place where he started, which is 50 kilometers away from Vijayawada, it is Kuchipudi. And the dance form that he wanted to promote, the dance form which he wanted to elevate and enrich, yes, it is Kuchipudi. All this story about Satyam and Kuchipudi becomes meaningless if we don't know certain facts about Kuchipudi. The dance form originated in the village of Kuchipudi. For a long time, the art was performed at temples at the time of annual festivals and in streets on the demand of the people. Initially, it was a male-oriented dance form. Even female roles were played by men. So here, guys, in order to understand the contribution of Dr. Vempati Chinnasatyam and in order to understand Kuchipudi, we need to, number one, understand what Kuchipudi is all about. What is this dance form all about, right? So, what is this dance form all about? What is Kuchipudi all about? Kuchipudi, it originated in a village called Kuchipudi, which is in Krishna district in Andhra Pradesh, okay? And this dance form, guys, this dance form was performed at temples. So Kuchipudi was performed at temples whenever there were any annual festivals. Your annual festivals are festivals that come once in a year. Yeah, like Dasara, Deepavali, they all come once in a year. So whenever whenever it's time for annual festivities, Kuchipudi was performed. It was performed in the streets also. And, people loved it. And I have read about Vempati Chinnasatyam, Dr. Vempati Chinnasatyam. And there I understood that he learnt it, for street performances. He was not a professional dancer at first. Okay, so when he did learn Kuchipudi, he was not a professional dancer. But then he was ready, he could perform on the streets. Now, this particular dance form was performed in the temples and also in the streets. Initially, it was a male dance form, male-oriented dance form. So men used to dance, and men used to dance even the ladies' part. Even the women's dance was done by the men because this was male-oriented. What a surprise! Great gurus like Vedantam Lakshmi Narayana, Chinta Krishna Murti enriched and performed it and welcomed women to play different roles. They produced many dance dramas and choreographed several solo items. Thus, the transformation of dance was complete. So earlier, guys, initially when it did start off, it was only done by men. It was only performed by men. But people like, Vedantam Lakshmi Narayana and Chinta Krishna Murti, these kind of people, what did they do? They made sure that this form of dance was not just restricted, was not just limited to men, but rather even women could actually dance. Okay? So they broadened this art form. Now, enriched and transformed it and welcomed women to play different roles. Well, when they did start off, guys, it was just like a dance, but later on, dramas were enacted using Kuchipudi. So they could act entire Ramayana or Mahabharata using Kuchipudi. Okay, so dramas were choreographed. They produced many dance dramas and choreographed several solo items. Thus, the transformation of dance was complete. So earlier it was just done in the temples and in the streets, but later on, and it was done only by the men, but later on it reached to that level where women could do it, where women could participate and perform, Okay, and not only that, guys, this dance form, it was, it turned into a drama. People could actually choreograph dance dramas. And also not just dramas, where many people are involved, even solo performances were actually, performed using this dance form. So it reached to that extent because of great gurus such as Vedantam Lakshmi Narayana and Chinta Krishnamurti. Thus, the transformation of dance was complete. It was different from the days when men played female roles. Now, women play even male roles, yet it was not much popular and it was not recognized on par with other classical dances till 1958. Yes, despite all these transformations, despite all these changes, guys, yet till the year 1958, Kuchipudi was not popular. Not many people knew about Kuchipudi. And even if people did know about Kuchipudi, and even if, females, even if ladies acted out men's roles, even after all these changes, still Kuchipudi could not reach that pedestal of being recognized as one of the classical dances. It didn't reach that pedestal until the year 1958. So let's see what caused this change and how and who, and let's try to understand more about Kuchipudi and how Satyam, Dr. Vempati Chinna Satyam, how did he contribute to enabling Kuchipudi reach that standard. Satyam was too big in his aspiration and too small in his achievements. He faced many hardships in his childhood. He had a strong desire to learn Kuchipudi. In spite of that, he was humiliated by a teacher in his village. The teacher said, "Don't attempt to learn Kuchipudi again. You're unfit for it." So guys, this person here, Satyam, he had a big dream. He had a great mission. He wanted to do something great. Okay? He was a man with a big aspiration. Aspiration means dream, ambition. But then his achievements, as far as he performing Kuchipudi was concerned, he was not so good at it. He was small in his achievements, but he was big in his dream. He had a great dream, but he was not so capable of that. He was not capable of really performing that art. Yes, you may be a great fan of, let's say, cricket, but you may not be able to play cricket well. That's okay. If you have a dream, if you have a mission to do something great, go ahead and do it. Don't think about your limitations. Don't think about the fact that you have weaknesses. So this person, Satyam, he had weaknesses. He had a weakness, and that weakness was that he could not perform well, but he had a great dream. He faced many hardships, many troubles in his childhood. Yeah, and one of it is mentioned over here. He had a strong desire to learn Kuchipudi, but one of his teachers said, "You are not good at Kuchipudi. You cannot do this anymore. Please, you're unfit for this kind of a dance." The teacher humiliated him. She said, "Don't learn Kuchipudi. You are not suitable for that." He made this comment in the presence of his friends. Some ridiculed him, but some others sympathized with him. And then his father died. He had to feed 4 sisters and a mother. Beyond this, Satyam was interested in nothing but his favorite art form with rudimentary knowledge of it. This is hardly of any use to a person with a lofty desire. So here, guys, we are talking about his troubles, his trials. It was not an easy task. Okay, he was not so good at this art form, but then he had a great dream. He had a lofty desire, a big dream. Okay, and we see that his family condition, his, conditions at home were not so suitable. His father died. He had 4 sisters whom he had to feed, and he had a mother. So he did have family responsibilities, and he had a great dream. He told his friends that, my teacher humiliated me. My teacher told me not to learn Kuchipudi anymore. Few friends laughed at him, saying that, yeah, that's true, you cannot do this at all. And few friends sympathized. They said, no, you can do it. They sympathized with him. They didn't feel happy about the fact that their teacher had laughed at him. But anyway, guys, we understand that this was not an easy task, that this was something, not so suitable for a person who was not good at that task. He had rudimentary knowledge. Rudimentary means basic. He was not a professional. He was someone who could actually dance in the streets, but he was not a professional. For example, guys, cricket. If you can play gully cricket, that's not equivalent to, you playing in the stadium. Yes, you may be good at playing in the streets, but once you are placed in the stadium, you may not be so good at it. Yeah, so similarly over here, this person, he was okay with this dance form. He had basic knowledge of it. But that was it. But he had a lofty desire, a great desire, okay, huge desire. Tadepalli Peraya Shastri and Vedantam Lakshmi Narayana Shastri taught him the difficult aspects of Kuchipudi style and inspired him. Satyam developed a genuine and ardent interest towards this art form. He sometimes sold his meal tickets to watch dance programs in Chennai. He only wanted to liberate Kuchipudi from the clutches of insignificance and oblivion. Okay, so here guys, we have two gurus mentioned. Okay, these two gurus, they helped Chinna Satyam, Dr. Vempati Chinna Satyam, to become a better dancer. And these two people are Tadepalli Paraya Shastri and Vedantam Lakshmi Narayana Shastri. These two gurus, they taught him difficult aspects of Kuchipudi style, and these were those gurus who inspired him, they inspired him to that level where this person thought that, yes, I want Kuchipudi to reach that level where everyone knows it and where everyone appreciates it, because he was inspired by his teachers. Satyam developed a genuine and ardent interest. That means he was, he was not faking it. He was really interested in that art form. It was something very true to to himself. He wanted to promote this art form. He sometimes sold his meal tickets. He had such great passion, guys, towards Kuchipudi that he sold his meal tickets to watch programs, to watch the dance form of Kuchipudi. Okay, so that's how interested he was. He only wanted to liberate. Liberate means to free. He wanted to free Kuchipudi from the clutches, from the hands of insignificance and oblivion. That means till then, guys, till 1958, not many people knew Kuchipudi, not many people were interested in Kuchipudi. It didn't have any significance, it didn't have any worth. And those were the clutches that he wanted to free Kuchipudi from. He wanted Kuchipudi to be famous, he wanted Kuchipudi to be popular, to be significant, to have some worth as far as the other dances are concerned, when it comes to all the other dances. With encouragement from his cousin Vempati Pedda Satyam, Vempati Chinna Satyam tried his luck in Telugu film world. So he was encouraged by his cousin, and his cousin's name is Vempati Pedda Satyam. And he told him, why don't you try out in the film world? Because in the films, in the movies, we do have dances, yes? So why don't you try in the film world, and there you can try your luck. If you can really choreograph well, then you can make lots of money. Try his luck in Telugu film world. Can the Telugu film lovers forget the dance sequences in Nartanasala, Devadasu and Pandava Vanavasam? Even now, the film admirers become nostalgic when they recollect these sequences. Thus, Dr. Vempati had carved a niche in Telugu films as well as dance, as a dance director. So when he entered this film industry, guys, this Telugu film industry, his dance performances, like, whatever he choreographed, whatever dance performances he directed, they became popular. And even today, people remember those dances that he choreographed, and people become very nostalgic. People start remembering those good old days. Okay, and his dance performances are mentioned over here, guys. They are Nartanasala, Devadasu and Pandava. Okay, so Pandava Vanavasam. So these are a few dance performances that he had directed, and people, they love these dance performances. Okay, and they become nostalgic. They think about the good old days when these dance sequences come to their mind. Dr. Vempati's distinguished disciples include Shanta Rao, Yamini Krishnamurthy, Vaijayanti Mala Bali. Hema Malini, Manju Bhargavi, Shobha Naidu, Bala Kondala Rao, and Dagubati, Purandeswari, etc. Every one of these disciples takes pride in being a disciple of Dr. Vempati. For all that he has done to the development and emergence of Kuchipudi to a full-fledged dance form, Dr. Vempati was rightly conferred the much coveted Padma Bhushan title by the government of India. Andhra University awarded him an honorary doctorate in 1980. Sri Venkateswara University, Tirupati honored him with an honorary degree, Doctor of Literature, in the year 1983. Dr. Satyam was presented with the Golden Key by the Mayor of Miami, USA, Stephen P. Clark, in the year 1981. He was chosen for the Sangeet Natak Academy Fellowship and the Raja Lakshmi Foundation. Madras presented the Raja Lakshmi Award. These are only a few to mention. There are so many feathers in his cap. In the year 1976, the TTD made Satyam the Asthana Natyacharya. So here, guys, we see his contribution. Because of his contribution to the field of Kuchipudi, he had been recognized world over. Okay? Now, Dr. Vempati's distinguished disciples. So he had his own people whom he trained. Yes, he was a guru. And whomever he taught, those people are called disciples. And we have many famous people here. Hema Malini, all of us know her, yes. And she learnt Kuchipudi from this maestro. And we have many other people who are mentioned over here. And all these people, guys, we know them. We know them, and they learnt it from their guru, Dr. Vempati Chinna Satyam. And all of them have great regard for this man, because this man, guys, he made sure that Kuchipudi reaches that pedestal, reaches that level. Every one of these disciples, they take pride in being his student, in being his follower, in being his disciple. Okay? And because of his efforts, guys, because of his efforts to develop, to make sure that, Kuchipudi reaches that level, because of his efforts, what happened? The government of India, they conferred upon him Padma Bhushan. Okay, not only Padma Bhushan, but then the Andhra University, they awarded him an honorary doctorate. What is an honorary doctorate, guys? A doctorate where you don't go and study, but because of your accomplishments, because of your efforts towards something, anything, they give you this degree because you have worked hard for it. Yes, he worked hard for it. He left home at a very young age and he had a mission and he was successful at it. Therefore, he was given an honorary doctorate from Andhra University in the year 1980. Remember, guys, he was a dropout from school. He didn't study. Yeah, but still he was given an honorary doctorate, PhD. Sri Venkateswara University, Tirupati, they gave him an honorary degree too, and that was Doctor of Literature in the year 1983. So he had been given, this was his first honorary doctorate, and this was his second honorary doctorate. Dr. Satyam was presented with the Golden Key by the Mayor of Miami, USA. So here he was given the Golden Key in the year 1981 because of his efforts, guys, because of his efforts to promote this art form. He was chosen for Sangeet Natak Academy of Fellowship and the Raja Lakshmi Foundation. Madras presented him Raja Lakshmi Award. So this was another award that he got. So he got many awards from India and from world over, guys, from many different places. So he has many feathers. There are so many feathers in his cap. That means he has great achievements, and many are being added also, even today. Okay, of course he's no more, but yes, because of his efforts, because of his accomplishments, he's known world over and has been given many awards. These are only a few that are mentioned in your book. In the year 1976, the TTD, they made Satyam Astana Natyachara. He was born to Venkatachalamaya and Varalakshmi on 15th October 1929. He led an illustrious life of 83 years and he breathed his last on 29 July 2012. So here guys, we understand his parents, we come to know who his parents are. His father, his name is Venkatachalamaya and his mother is Varalakshmi, and he was born on 15th of October 1929. So think about his age now. Yeah. He was an he led an illustrious life, a hard working life. He worked hard guys, of 83 years, and he breathed his last on 29 July 2012. So in the year 2012 he died. He was survived by his wife and 2 sons and 3 daughters. So when he died, his wife was still living. He had 2 sons who were still living and 3 daughters who were still living. Yeah. All the Telugu speakers identified themselves with Kuchipudi. The rest of the world looks at Kuchipudi and Dr. Vempati's stupendous work with reverent eyes. So the whole world knows Kuchipudi now. And how is that possible? Because till 1958, nobody knew that. It was not significant at all. But after 1958, it reached a standard, it reached a pedestal, a platform, a level that, you know, the whole world knows now. The whole world knows Kuchipudi and they all respect Dr. Vempati Chinna Satyam's contribution. They look at him with reverent eyes because they are filled with reverence, with respect because of the stupendous work, the, you know, huge amount of work that he has contributed, guys. Kuchipudi has established itself on par with other classical dance forms of India like Bharatanatyam, Kathak and Kathakali. All of us know Bharatanatyam, all of us know Kathak, we know Kathakali. Now, on par with those dance forms, we have Kuchipudi, and we have to be proud of this because we are Telugu speaking people, aren't we? And because we are Telugu speaking people, we all, you know, can say that Kuchipudi is from our place, yeah, from our region. Countless people worked for Kuchipudi, but Dr. Vempati remains a source of inspiration to such people, and he remains at the center stage of Kuchipudi's surge as a classical dance form in modern India. Yes, many people worked for it, guys. We have his own gurus who contributed to the transformation of this dance. We have many people who have contributed, but the one who stands out, whom we can look to and say that that was a person, and because of that person, there was an elevation to this dance form. If we have to, point to someone, yes, if we have to, think about the source of inspiration, who was that person? Who was that source of inspiration? He is none other than Dr. Vempati Chinna Satyam. He remains at the center stage of Kuchipudi's surge as a classical dance form in modern India. Hence, he can rightly be called maestro with a mission. There are many maestros, there are many masters, there are many people who are very good at something. But here, this person, he had a mission, guys. And because he had a mission, he was passionate about it and he worked towards it and he was able to achieve his dream. Okay, so not many people achieve their dreams, not all of them do. But here we have someone who was able to achieve his mission. And he is Dr. Vempati Chinna Satyam. Right, now we have a few questions that we need to work upon. Vempati Chinna Satyam left his house on a purpose. Do you think he was successful at the end? Yes, he left his house when he was only 18 years old. And when he left his house, he had a lot of responsibilities. He had his mother, his mother was widowed because father died, and he had 4 sisters. He was not from a well-to-do background. And he didn't know Kuchipudi so well that he could actually carry off this dream. But anyway, he did have a dream and he did leave the house on this purpose, and that purpose was to elevate this dance form called Kuchipudi. He wanted Kuchipudi, which was insignificant, to reach significance. He wanted Kuchipudi, which was not so popular, to become popular. Now, do you think he was successful at the end? Yes, he was. Yeah, he was successful because till the year 1958, not many people knew Kuchipudi. But today we can be proud of this, that Kuchipudi has reached to that level where it is now on par with Bharatnatyam, with Kathak, with Kathakali. So yes, he was able to fulfill his mission. When the station master asked Satyam, "Where are you going, dear?" he kept silent. Now choose one of the options that is not the reason for the silence. Yeah. So now when he was asked, where are you going? What are you up to? Where have you come from? Yeah, the station master was probably coming up with, had many questions in his mind. So why was he silent? Now choose one of the options that is not the reason. Okay. Why was he silent, which was not the reason for his silence, guys? He was determined to achieve something. Yes, that silence, it shows that he was determined to achieve something. He didn't want to talk about it. He didn't want to brag about it. He didn't want to talk about his ambition and say that, this is what I want to do for the country, for the dance form. He didn't brag about it. He was silent because he had a dream in his mind and he was determined to achieve it. He was determined and confident about his destiny. He was not determined or confident about his destiny. This is the correct option. He was determined and confident, guys. Yes, he had that confidence. Though he was not so good at that dance form, yet he was determined and confident to achieve his mission, to achieve his dream. Okay, so the last one is not the reason for the silence. It is not the reason. If the 18-year-old lad hadn't left his village, Kuchipudi would not have gained this popularity. Do you agree or disagree? Why? Yes, very important question. Yeah. Now, if that boy, when he was, if that man today, yeah, but when that boy was only 18, when Dr. Vempati Chinna Satyam was only 18, he left home. Imagine if he had not left home, then would this dance form ever reach this kind of a pedestal? This kind of a level where everyone would know about Kuchipudi, yeah, even Americans know about Kuchipudi today. Would this have ever reached that kind of a pedestal? May not, it wouldn't have happened unless there would have been another maestro with the same mission, yeah. But if he had not done it, probably others would not have been so interested. But remember, guys, this person was from Kuchipudi and he wanted to promote, he wanted to make sure that this reaches that pedestal. He was a man with a mission, and if this man didn't have this mission, probably Kuchipudi wouldn't have reached this pedestal. Is it appropriate to call him Dr. Vempati? Do you agree? Why? Why not? Yes, as I already mentioned, in our lesson, we came to know that he was a dropout from school. He did not study his 10th grade also. Now, because he was a dropout from school, after your school, guys, after your 10th class, okay, you do your intermediate, yes? After your intermediate, you do your degree, yeah? And after your degree, you have your master's. And after you have your master's degree in the sense I mean bachelor's here, okay? Your bachelor's degree, your master's degree, and then you have your PhD. And here, once you are conferred this PhD, you are referred to as Dr. So-and-so. Okay. Yes, we do have doctors who practice medicine, but that's a different kind of a doctor. A person who finishes his PhD is also called a doctor. So here, is it appropriate to call him Dr. Vempati? Because he didn't even study 10th grade. So how come can you call him a doctor? Yes, because he was given honorary doctorates. Yes, he was given honorary doctorates from different universities because of his efforts, because of his accomplishments, because of his achievements. He was not just given a doctorate just like that. He worked towards it. Of course, he did not go to a college and study and, have a teacher there. But yes, he did work towards the progress of this dance form. And therefore, he should be called Dr. Vempati because of his work towards this dance form, because of the efforts that he had made to enable this dance form to reach this pedestal. Okay, so is it appropriate to call him Dr. Vempati? Yes. And why? I've already given you the reason. Okay, so I hope you've understood this story, titled Maestro with a Mission. Well, it's a real story, yes. And this person, Dr. Vempati Chinnasatyam, he contributed in his own way to make sure that this art form stays alive. And as I already mentioned to you last time, in our previous classes, we need to make sure that the dance forms, that the art forms that are originated in India, they stay alive. That's up to us, guys. And if the next generation is not so interested in protecting its own art and its own culture, then very soon India will not have its own culture, its own art. Because right now you see that we are so multicultural that we have become more like Americans and more like the Europeans and more like the other parts of the world, and we are losing our Indian essence. Right? So let's try to protect this essence, guys. Let's try to protect our culture, our heritage, and our art forms. And who can do that? You can do that, and I can do that. Right? So in our own way, let's contribute to the protection of our art and culture. Well, I'll see you in our next class, but until then, I want you to keep watching us always on Classroom TV and always enjoy life and learning.